Do you prep for the digital SATs math section to get a high score? That's precisely what we're going to talk about in this video. So I want you to know that there are 4 main steps to successfully get the digital SAT math section score of your dreams, okay? Now, in order to understand where and how much you need to improve, you first need to understand where you are skill-wise right now. So you need to understand how you interpret the way the digital SAT even phrases its math questions. You need to understand how you do under time pressure of the ticking countdown timer, right? You need to understand what you remember and didn't remember about inequalities that you may have learned in 8th grade and so forth. So the best way to do that is step number 1, which is use Blue Book practice test number 1 as your diagnostic test. Now, in order to do this, here's what you're going to do. First, you're going to create a College Board account. You can literally do that on the College Board's website. Next, you are going to install the Blue Book app, and you're going to install it onto your device. You're going to find a morning, because ideally you will do this in the morning because that's when you take the real test, right? When you have a few hours of uninterrupted time, like no distractions, it's maybe quiet in your house or apartment, and you're going to actually do the practice test number 1 in the Blue Book app time. So after you have done that and you've taken practice test number 1 as your diagnostic, it does you no good at all if you just like randomly and spontaneously do practice problems and practice sections without a clear focus. Besides, what you need to do is figure out exactly which math topics you forgot or didn't learn in the first place, or maybe misunderstood when your teacher taught it to you in 9th grade, so that you can concentrate on filling in those conceptual gaps first. Those are what I call the low-hanging math fruit. So what we're going to do is determine which question types on the math section you missed. To do this, we're going to go through that diagnostic test you took, and we are going to look at every question you either skipped or answered incorrectly. For each question, we're going to ask, what was the part of this that I messed up? And sometimes it's not what you think. For example, maybe there is a geometry question and it's about special right triangles. Specifically, it's about the 30, 60, 90 special right triangle and its ratios. And you look at this and you'll go, oh, it's obviously a geometry question. Wait, so when you actually go through it and look at, any scratch work you did, figure out like, wait, did I actually get the 30, 60, 90 special right triangle ratios wrong? Oh, I didn't. I got those right. Oh, I messed up simplifying the root part of it. Well, then it wasn't a geometry issue at all for you, was it? It was actually a roots, like exponent radical power type thing, which is an advanced math topic that messed you up. Does that make sense? So in this case, it does not count towards geometry, it counts towards advanced math. So what you're going to do is after you have cataloged every single question and determined which math topic it was, and here are some possibilities, right? Maybe it's just number basics. Maybe it's problem solving and data analysis. So maybe it's the problem solving part. Maybe it's the understanding charts and graphs part. Maybe it is algebra 1. Maybe it is the advanced math, and that can be broken down into algebra 2 topics and functions. Or maybe it's the geometry and trigonometry part of it that got you, in which case you'd want to break down, well, was it two-dimensional geometry? Was it solid or three-dimensional geometry? Or was it the trigonometry? So those are your basic categories. You're going to tally which questions were in each, and then you're going to focus on improving the question types you missed the most of first. So that is number 2, is create your personal digital SAT math priority list. Hey there. I'm Kristina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep. I help high schoolers get into their dream colleges by helping them drastically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and write compelling college application essays. So I want to ask you a question right now. What have you done so far to prep for the math section of the digital SAT? I want to know. So write it in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. So now the fun starts. Remember that math priority list you just made? Well, you're now not only going to learn all the concepts in order of the priority list, right? But you're also going to practice, practice, practice those concepts until you know them cold. Now, here is the thing you need to know. To drill specific question types, do not, under any circumstances, use Blue Book practice tests 2 through 4. Just do not do it. We only have 4 of those official computer adaptive practice tests right now, and they are like gold to us. So we are not using them just for practice problems. Now, what can you use? Okay, so instead, we can use Khan Academy to drill certain math topics. It's online, it's free. We can use test prep books that you might find in the bookstore or say on Amazon or online, and maybe Barron's or Kaplan or Princeton Review. Those have drills in them, and they also have various, unofficial practice tests. You could use those. You could also use the drills in the Blue College Board book, right? There's a Blue College Board digital SAT book. In fact, I have it right here. One second. It's this one. So you literally, there are 4 different drills for math in this book. There's one for algebra, there's one for advanced math, there's one for problem solving, there is one for geometry and trig. So you could use those for drills. You are not going to do the practice tests in here because they are just copies of the official Blue Book practice tests number 1 through 4 that we don't want to touch for this purpose. Okay, that is number 3, which is practice your math weaknesses. After you've plugged in your math gaps, it's time to put it all together, right? We want to ramp up towards our actual test day. So now we're into the 4th and final step, which is take mock tests to build momentum leading up to your digital SAT test date. Now, if you've done what I told you so far, you should still have Blue Book practice tests number 2, 3, and 4. You've already used one as the diagnostic, but you still have 3 more to use as mock tests. If you are like most students and take the digital SAT or, any test more than once, then what you might want to consider is using practice tests 2 and 3 only to help you for your first test sitting. So what you would do is the 2 to 3 weekends before you actually sit to take your first real digital SAT, you would use practice tests 2 and 3 for mock tests. Then you'd still have practice test number 4 if you then take it a second time. If you need more practice tests after that, we do have the linear non-adaptive practice tests for free on the College Board's website. Now, what these are is it's in the style of the digital SAT. They are official, but because they're on paper and they're not computer adaptive, the structure's a little different. Each module has more questions in it, and you get more time to do them. But really, the reason we're kind of using these as a last resort is because about 2/3 of the questions on these linear non-adaptive practice tests are basically stolen from the 4 official ones on Blue Book. So you don't want to use them first because you will ruin those 4 official computer adaptive Blue Book practice tests. You could use them after. In fact, 1/3 of the questions are going to be ones you haven't seen before, even after you did Blue Book 1 through 4. For, say, a second or even a third SAT test date, you could use the linear non-adaptive practice tests if you still need more practice tests. And then after that, you could use practice tests from test prep books like, the Princeton Review, Kaplan, Barron's, etc. But again, those are last resorts because those are not official. If you want to know more about exactly how to prep for the math section of the digital SAT, like learn all the concepts and Math Ninja problem solving tricks and strategies for tackling scary problems, then please check out my online course, The Ultimate Digital SAT Math Guide. In this totally digital, totally self-paced online course and ebook, you're going to learn all the content and all the strategies you need to ace the digital SAT's math section in under 3 hours. So check it out in the link below.